All right, hello. So this video is going to be on race day nutrition. So here we are, right? You wake up Saturday morning, it's race day. You're feeling good. For the past few months, you've been training hard and you've been eating a whole food, nutrient-dense diet. You've been practicing with what foods work for you during long runs and the night prior to those long runs. And you're ready to go. You feel confident in your strategy. And this is what's happening. Now, how do you get there? Well, you practice with your training runs. With your long training runs, you need to practice with what you're going to end up fueling with during the race. And also the night before, practice your night before dinner and your race day breakfast. Okay? And don't try anything new. Trying to drive that point home. Do not try anything new. Please. So, race day. So you wake up, you want to eat your breakfast. It really depends. It really depends on your digestion. But a guideline is 2 to 4 hours, which is a large window. I understand. But from 2 to 4 hours prior to the race, you need to give yourself plenty of time to digest your meal, especially if you're eating something that needs a good amount of time to digest. So what does this breakfast involve? Well, number one, it's something you enjoy. Number two, it's not going to be super high fiber. It's not going to be super high fat. I do like to have protein in there, but it's mostly going to be easy to digest, simple sugars that are just going to really top off your glycogen stores from the last 12 hours of you sleeping. So you'll top off your sugar stores in your body, and that should get you through your race with maybe a few snacks here and there during the race. So, okay, what do we have here? So for breakfast, ideas would be, a lot of people like a plain bagel with some honey and cinnamon, maybe a peanut butter and almond butter, something like that. Just a mashed up banana with some peanut butter, some cinnamon, some sea salt. I like putting sea salt on a lot of things, just like, I think I forgot to mention this, but just adding salt, like an unrefined sea salt or mineral salt, to your vegetables and your meats and your proteins and whatever you eat during the week and during your whole training block is really important to get your electrolytes in. And I mean, we need salt to survive, right? And so it's pretty darn important. So if you're eating a nice whole food diet, you're not getting the excess sodium from all these packaged foods and takeout foods and restaurant foods. So if you're cooking a lot and you're eating a lot of foods without any labels, then especially, you're running a lot, so salt your food. Anyways, so I will put a dash of salt on my oatmeal or my banana and peanut butter or toast or whatever it is I'm eating prior to a long run or a race. Let's see. I also, what else? I guess other people will do maybe an egg or two and some white toast, or a bowl of white rice, baked white potato, or make some sort of breakfast scramble with some shredded potatoes in there. It's really good. You could make your own baked goods. Make like a low-fat muffin or a breakfast cookie of sort, like an oatmeal cookie. There's so many options out there to make your own stuff, and that's what I really like to do. Make your own bars, make your own chews or energy balls, make your own everything. Then you can control what's in there, and you could play it to what's best for your digestion and what you need. So that's breakfast, and that's about 2 to 4 hours beforehand. And then something closer to race day, that hour or half hour before the gun goes off is just this anxious time. If you want to have maybe a little bit of a banana or something else like an energy bite or whatever you've made, then it's a good time to have that. So that's definitely an option there. And then the gun goes off and you begin to race, right? So, actually, I'm going to rewind. I forgot this point. Caffeine. So I love coffee. I think most people do. I have a cup every day. But here's the thing: our tolerances are so individual. So the scientific literature totally backs up having caffeine as a performance enhancer. There's no doubt about it. It definitely increases performance, improves performance for most people. Some people really just cannot handle caffeine, and their body is like, get this out of me. So, with that being said, do not overdo it with caffeine. Play it really safe here. Your adrenaline's going to be going, and you're going to be you're going to be awake anyways. So I usually do just a few sips of coffee beforehand. I also don't want to feel that dehydrated feeling beforehand. It definitely, as we know, can lead to bathroom visits. So that's what we're trying to avoid. We want everything in your gut to feel solid and digested and just doing its thing. So, with that being said, really take note of that. If you're traveling somewhere new for a race, and you might want to bring your own coffee in the way to make it, or experiment with a double espresso or just a small coffee and having a few sips, and just knowing what works for you, because that can definitely just make you racing from porta potty to porta potty instead of start to finish, and that's no fun. So, okay, had to get that in there during your race. So I'm going to do a Q&A after this, and I'll dive more into it, but I am a real food kind of person. I like to eat things that my body recognizes, because then it knows what to do with it. It can digest it at the rate it's supposed to be digested and transport it out to all the cells that need it. When you are eating gels, I shouldn't even say swallowing gels. I mean, you have this bolus of just concentrated sugars and a lot of brands, artificial dyes and artificial. It's in such a aggressive form that it will sit in your stomach. I mean, I'm not going to get into the receptors and the enzymes and the transport systems, but basically, it overloads our small intestine, and it can sit there and cause cramping and bloating and nausea and diarrhea and just all these terribly uncomfortable things. With that being said, there's also brands out there that do a much better job at creating more natural products and with a slower absorption rate, or just things that your body recognizes and can handle. And so I do encourage you to seek out those brands. Spring Energy comes to mind. I believe Humagel does a good job. There's Muir Energy Gel. Chews and blocks are, I think, a little bit better because they require you to chew, which will slow down the digestion of things. And digestion starts in the mouth. It starts with the saliva. It will start to break down things. So if you don't want just a total backup in your small intestine where it will sit there and slosh and make you feel terrible, then you're going to want to chew things. I understand a lot of people don't like to chew things when they're running or find it difficult, but that's something that maybe you should try to experiment with and try to train yourself on. Another cool thing about the gut is that it's very trainable. So that's what you should be doing right now, is experimenting with different things and training your gut, reducing inflammation in your gut, making it just iron, making it so strong and stable that it will do its job flawlessly no matter what you give it on race day. And that is something that you need to do a few months prior to the race, ideally, so you could get to that point where it's not such a, oh my gosh, like, am I going to throw up am I going to have diarrhea? Like, we all have that thought. So you don't want that. If you want to get rid of that anxiety, you have to train your gut by eating a whole food, nutrient-dense diet, low anti-inflammatory foods, and a diet that works for you, right? So I think that was a tangent. But anyways, during your race, so yes, I like real food. I like real food or the gels or the bars, because, I mean, here's the thing, like, they're so convenient to have a bar, something in a package, just to grab and go, especially if you're traveling to a race. So I would encourage you to look for a more natural bar. There's Lara bars that you could tear off, and I like to eat things in very small doses. So not just a Lara bar in 3 bites, but a Lara bar just chipped away at. Or Bobo Oat bars has some. There's Picky bars. There's bars you can make yourself. Or you can make little sandwich bites on white bread with some jelly and some sea salt, or just like some white bread and honey and cinnamon. Peanut butter might be good, or it might be just a disaster. So definitely experiment. Let's see. Yeah. And so that's during your race, and then just slowly sipping water and electrolytes. Going into it in terms of hydration, you should be pretty good. You should, I mean, if you were salting your food all week and you were preloading with good hydration strategies, then you should be good to, depending on how long you're out there, depending on the weather, depending on if this is your first race or your 10th. There's so many factors, right? So I would say definitely try to drink to thirst, and maybe a little bit before you get to that point, because usually after a couple hours that mechanism might turn off depending on the conditions and the person. So I think it's a pretty safe bet to just do small sips here and there, as long as you have entered the race feeling hydrated and preloaded and ready to go. So that's such a unique individual topic, as is food. So these are just the basics that I hope you can experiment with. And yeah, basically, if you need more guidance, just please let me know. This is what I do. I work with gut health for runners and endurance athletes. So just trying to find ways to reduce the inflammation in the gut, strengthen your digestion, so you could get to the starting line hydrated, fueled, and just ready to go to have a fun, fast race. Okay, great. I hope that was helpful for you guys.